Hey everyone, Codif here. This is my Lightning Spear Sorcerer build for Diablo 4 Season 8. Let's just show you a little bit of how the damage looks like on these training dummies here. So this build is Torment 4 ready with no mythics whatsoever. I haven't seen any mythics yet, and yeah, we're still crushing it in Torment 4. Hasn't been too bad at all, as you can see. No mythics, but we'll get into that later. So let's get into the build itself, starting with the skills. First off, we're taking Teleport. This is a defensive / mobility skill. So whenever we cast our Teleport, we gain movement speed as well as damage reduction. Kind of helps you get around the maps a bit faster, and it's also counted as a shock skill too. That ties in with our Unstable Currents. Next up is our Ice Armor, as you can see. So this is a barrier, absorbs a good amount of damage here, and increases our mana regen, as well as a source of Unstoppable. So this will get us out of crowd control and also prevent crowd control, like stuns or freezes. Same with Flame Shield. Flame Shield's like another barrier here, but this time, while this is active, you're pretty much immune to damage as well as crowd control. So, very nice ability there. Next up is our ultimate, Unstable Currents. So when we activate this, it's alive for or active for 10 seconds. Whenever we cast a shock skill, so either our Lightning Spear or our Teleport, it'll conjure a random core, conjuration, or mastery skill as well. And while it's active, we also have 25% increased attack speed. So this is kind of how that looks right there. I can spawn my Lightning Spear. There you go, we just saw those charged bolts that popped out when I casted that. And that leads us into our next ability, Lightning Spear. So this is going to be our main damage dealer here. So this is kind of how it looks right here. It's going to seek out enemies on its own, so you don't have to use, you don't have to target with this. You could just cast this. You could face the opposite direction and cast this, and it'll still go over there. See? Just like that. But, yeah. This gives you extra... I have it spec'd into, extra stun, so that's going to tie in with our Beast in the Ice powers currently. But we'll get into that a little bit more later. And then lastly, we have our Frozen Orb. This is more of a source of crowd control, due to the chilling and the freezing, as well as this is like a vessel for spawning lightning spears. As you can see right there, lightning spear just popped out as I did it. Right there, another one. But that's due to one of the items that we have. And let's move over to the enchantments. First one we're taking is Familiar Enchantment. So each time we summon a conjuration, so our lightning spear, we have a 33% chance to summon a familiar of the same element. And then we have our Ice Blades enchantment. So whenever we spend 31 seconds in cooldowns, so yeah, either of these abilities, because these all have cooldowns, we will spawn random Ice Blades on an enemy. So those counts as a conjuration, and it counts towards our Primordial Binding passive as well. And they also, I have it spec'd into the lowering the cooldowns, but we'll get into that later as well. Now, let's go into the skill tree. Starting from the top, we have 1 point into Spark and Enhanced. We're not using these, but this is just to get us down over here. 1 point into Frozen Orb, and then 1 point into Enhanced. Just a little bit extra damage with our Frozen Orbs. This isn't really a damage dealer, but I guess it's kind of nice to have. And then next up, we have Charged Bolts. 1 rank in Charged Bolts, 1 into Enhanced, and then 1 into Destructive. This gives us damage reduction, so we're not actually casting this. This is just something that comes out from our Unstable Currents when we cast a Shock skill. So it's a nice little extra damage reduction to get. I've got 1 point into Potent Warding, the rest is from gear, but this is kind of also to get us over here, as well as when we cast a skill, it'll grant us that resistance in that element, and also maximum res as well. And going over here, we're going to start from the top. We have only 1 rank in Flame Shield. I didn't really need any of this stuff up here. 1 point into Elemental Attunement. So crits have a chance to reset our defensive abilities. So our Teleport, our Ice Armor, or our Flame Shield have a chance to be reset. So this is a nice little thing to have. And then next up, we have our Ice Armor. Ice Armor into Enhanced and into Shimmering. So while this is active, reduce the cooldown with every 50 mana you spend, which is very nice. 3 ranks into Glass Cannon to increase our damage, but we do take a little bit more damage as well, but that's fine. 1 point into Teleport, Enhanced, and then Shimmering for the damage reduction. And coming down over here, we got our 1 rank into Ice Blades, Enhanced, And Roaring to lower the cooldown on our abilities. So this will help towards our ultimate, our teleports, ice armor, flame shield, all that stuff. Anything that has a cooldown, this will help lower it when those are out. And we got 1 point into Align the Elements, 3 into Protection for a little bit extra barrier and survivability, 5 ranks into Lightning Spear because this is our damage dealer, 1 into Enhanced, and then 1 into Invoked Lightning Spear. So we want that stun for that Beast in the Ice power that we're using as our main, but we'll get into that later. We got 3 ranks into Primordial Binding. This is going to give us extra summon damage, movement speed, and mana regen. This is a really nice passive to have. 3 ranks into Mana Shield for extra damage reduction. 1 point into Familiar, Enhanced, and Invoked. That gives us a 10x multiplier on our damage. Coming down over here, I only took 3 ranks into Inner Flames for increased damage while healthy. And moving along to this branch, we've got 3 ranks into Permafrost, so as long as a Frost skill's on our action bar, we deal 18x increased damage. So that's our Ice Armor. That's all that is. Oh yeah, and Frozen Orb too, that would count. Then 3 ranks into Hoarfrost. Whenever enemies are chilled or frozen, we deal increased damage to them. And then Icy Touch, increased damage to vulnerable enemies as well. So these are pretty much always happening as well. Coming over here, we got 5 ranks into Unstable Currents. I got it up to 5 to lower the cooldown as much as possible. But I'm thinking like maybe later on, once I have more CDR, I can maybe allocate those points elsewhere, but we'll see. And then I only have 1 point into Prime Unstable Currents for the attack speed. I didn't really need Supreme. I didn't think so. 1 rank into Coursing Currents for extra crit chance. 3 ranks into Electrocution for that increased damage reduction after crit. 3 points into Evocation for cooldown reduction. And then 3 ranks into Elemental Synergies for that increased damage as well. And then lastly, we're taking the Enlightenment enchantment. It's just too good. Gotta take the Enlightenment. Alright, that's the skill tree. Let's go over the Paragon briefly. It's also in the planner as well. You can check the link in the description under this video. But just really quickly, I'm going to go over this. For the first board, I'm taking Destruction. Increases our crit damage. Next board, this is the Static Surge board. So that's also a damage increase as well, as it also helps restore our mana too. And then we have Tactician. We get a bonus to rare nodes here, and increased damage as well after casting a defensive skill. Over to the right, this is our next board. This is the Elemental Summoner board. So conjuration skills have reduced cooldown and mana cost, and they also deal an increased damage. And then for the glyph I'm taking is Elementalist. This is also a bonus to the rare nodes, and we deal increased, after dealing like fire, cold, or lightning damage, we deal increased damage as well. So it kind of like ties in together. So we're getting extra conjuration damage, non-physical. From this one, we're getting extra crit damage and then extra lightning damage as well. The next board, this is the Frigid Fate board. So this is extra damage to vulnerable enemies. This is very nice. We already have it maxed out with our bonus cold damage as well. And we have Exploit. This is increased damage to vulnerable enemies on this board. And lastly, we've got our last board. This is the Enchantment Master. So enchantments are 30% stronger. So our enchantments are familiars and our ice blades, essentially. So increased damage with that element. And then for our glyph, we have Unleash. This is another bonus, but this one's to magic nodes as well. And then we also deal increased damage after spending mana and more mana regen too. So it helps with our sustain. So as you can see, we got like damage to elites here and then non-physical damage. And also, like if you grab these two, it's like, that's a nice plus dex. Like plus 22 versus like the plus 7. Same for like the willpower if we need that. That'll be helpful later on for some of these requirements on all these other rare glyphs. Alright, and then moving on, let's go over the Mercenary since we're right here. Mercenary, I have Rahir. I just took on the left side of the tree for that increased armor, and then we have Mocking Lure to deal increased damage to enemies taunted. It's a 15x multiplier. And then for our support or reinforcement, we have Variana. We just have her doing Bloodthirst, which increases our attack speed, while we have our Unstable Currents while we cast it. So this grants us attack speed, then also Variana will increase attack speed while we have this like going on. And next up, let's go over our gear. So I don't have any mythics yet, but I would like to get Starless. That's kind of what I'm after right now. But let's go over like what we have currently. So right now I'm rocking Godslayer Crown. This gives us increased cooldown reduction as well as damage. We have Snow Veiled on our armor. This is our source of Unstoppable with Ice Armor, as well as a nice 25% flat damage reduction bonus. Really nice for survivability. We'll go over those runes later. Sid Bindings. These are really nice because you can get really high ranks on Primordial Binding, and that's what's giving us like a lot of extra damage here. As you remember on our skill tree, I'm currently at 24 ranks of this, so summon damage, movement speed, and mana regen. So more Primordial Binding binding ratings is better. Next up, we have concentration aspect on our pants. So this is like another flat damage reduction bonus, 25x up to 30x when you cast your conjuration. So we're always casting our spears. This is pretty much always up. And then next up, we have our boots. I've got Orange Herald here. So this has a chance, lucky hit chance, to reduce the cooldown of our ultimate skills by 2 seconds. So we're trying to lower this cooldown as much as possible, and this is helping us do that. For our weapon, we have Splintering Energy on a staff. So this is really important. You want to get your Splintering Energy on a staff to get the full benefit of the damage multiplier there. It goes up to 200x. Haven't gotten close to that yet, but eventually we'll get a nice aspect. And then we have Fractured Winter Glass. This is how those frozen orbs are casting the lightning spears. It's all due to that. So when I said the frozen orbs are a vessel for lightning spears, this is why. This also has ranks to Primordial Binding as well, which is very nice. And then, yeah, chance for frozen orb projectiles to cast twice too. And next up, we have our Talrash's Ring. This is nice because it has cooldown reduction and non-physical damage. And after casting a Pyromancy, Shock, or Frost skill, we increase our damage by up to 25x for 8 seconds. So you'll have to cast it, but we have Lightning, obviously. We've got Cold. This you can use for fire too, to get you like a little extra stack from Talrash's. So sometimes I'll use this on bosses just for that. And then lastly, we have Elemental Acuity. If I had Starless, I would replace this, but this is really good for mana regen, mana sustain. Really good for that. Especially, I used it for like leveling too. It was really good. Now, let's go over our beast powers. So this is the seasonal mechanic here. Seasonal mechanic for Season 8. So first off, we're taking Beast in the Ice's Sleet. So remember when I said I was taking Stun on Lightning Spear? This is why. So after casting 3 skills which apply crowd control or stagger, you shoot out a sleet of ice spikes that deal, what was that, 2.8 million cold damage and freeze enemies. So this is like doing a lot of damage. This is like our main, or it's like a really nice support damage dealer for Lightning Spear. Next up, we have Hatred's Embrace's Haste. This increases our crit chance. Currently, it's going up to 50%. We get a 50% bonus from this. And we have Beastmaster's Training. This gives us like another increased damage boost as well. And then we have Lilith's Wind of Hate. So this is mostly to help with single target damage for Lightning Spear. So when you're fighting the bosses, like, you know how you don't have like any other targets sometimes unless they have ads? This will produce another target for your splintering aspect of your lightning spears to like chain off of something and chain back to the boss and deal extra damage. Oh, and then I kind of skipped it, but for the runes we have Nagu and Ohm. So Nagu and Ohm, like these two together, as long as we're casting lightning spears, Ohm has like 100% uptime. Like we always have this 15x multiplier for our damage. And then for our runes here, we have Tam and What. So we're casting non-channeled core skills, our Frozen Orb, then we're spawning Decrepify from the Necromancer. So it would slow enemies, that's also a crowd control, and then reduces their damage. It also lets us execute them. So that's my current setup right there. That's it in a nutshell. Yeah, if you want to check the Paragon and stuff, it's all over here on Mobalytics, all the aspects and stuff, and then the tempers, all the tempers should be on here, as well as the masterworks. Just try to make the video a little bit shorter, but you guys can check that out at your leisure. But anyway, how about I show you guys some gameplay? And there you have it. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Don't forget to like and subscribe. If you have any questions at all, feel free to reach out down below or on Discord. We have a lot of helpful people there in the community. It's really growing, taking off. Hope you guys join, and yeah, if you have any questions, feel free to reach out. Take care, everyone. Peace.